All right, we are live here at the lunch break this Friday, October 24th. Hope everybody's doing well out there. See you right out there already, Tyler and Eddie Hudson. Hope you guys are having a good day. If you're out there at work, hey, I hope you're not working too hard. The weekend is in sight. We're plowing towards it, right? And them afternoons on Fridays, those last 2-3 hours sometimes can feel like an eternity. I've been there, I know. So hopefully we can help you guys get through that a little bit and get you onto the weekend where you can go fishing, hunting, doing whatever you want to do. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So, um, but I appreciate you guys joining me. And of course, if you listen to this at a later date, hey, we appreciate you as well. I know there are some people that actually go back and listen to this after the fact. And so we love you guys too. Make sure you like and subscribe. All right. And give me that thumbs up because I keep getting told every day that helps the algorithm, right? What's up, Coleman? Got my physical therapy done this morning. Did some leg presses, squats, and all that good stuff. I'm almost back. Tyler's going to fish Gunnersville for an hour or so after breaking in the boat tomorrow. Hey, that's pretty cool. Absolutely, that's pretty cool. And we're going to talk about that, what you guys are doing. And what's up, Kendra? I just love seeing you guys every single time we just do this, no matter what. So Cam's got to work tomorrow as well to get these property taxes paid. Getting on tuna super early Sunday though. Yeah, for sure. Those property taxes. Hell, we could do 200 hours of programming on just that, right? Let me go ahead and take care of the business as always. Of course, Toys for Tots, guys. Get signed up December 6th at Laurel Park. Guaranteed $5,000 first place prize, $80 per team, plus one unwrapped toy to help the Hall and Pickens County Toys for Tots. If you want to figure out how to get or go ahead and pre register, hit me up 678-283-6700 and I will walk you through the steps. You're going to blast off in the order of which you sign up. So if you want to go ahead and have an early flight, let's go ahead and get you signed up for sure right there. But it's going to be a great time. 100% going to be a great time. Eddie's going to be on tuna tomorrow. Kendra's working, but she'll be fishing Sunday. Is that a tournament, Kendra? And Tyler says he's going out on Lanier Sunday. Going to implement what I learned yesterday and get better. What's up, Cletus and Herschel? How you doing? Doing some inshore fishing this week on St. George Island. I love going down to St. George. It's been a couple years since I've been down there. Uh, last time I was down there, the last day I fished around the cut. If you guys have ever been on St. George, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I had an uncle that had uh he had a house inside and I forget the name of it, but it's the private resort part towards the end, down towards the cut. And I'm telling you what, hey Danny, congratulations on making the cut this week and getting to fish Sunday. Hey, I know it, right? Hey, listen, take care of that stuff early, right? Eddie, what time and see what time are you starting there? Okay, we'll be on Lanier Graph and trying to catch up on these comments real quick. And Coker's going to fish tomorrow. There's a lot of tournaments on Lanier tomorrow as well. Also, too, November 1st, Fishers of Hope has the tournament for the young man Matthew that's having some liver problems, and it's $100 entry fee going out of Blue Ridge Marina. They're doing a raffle and hamburger plates afterwards to raise some money, $100 per team, and that would be pretty cool if you guys can get up there. I know that Tony and Tim from our group will be fishing it. I'm going to try to get up there as well. And also, too, if you're in the Blue Ridge area this weekend only, Blue Ridge Marine, 30% off all live bait, tackle, kayaks, rods, and reels. All right. You can buy or sell a boat there. It's located at 12166 Morganton Highway in Morganton, Georgia. And you give them a call at 706-900-4004. And if you're in that area and you live there, I saw her in the comments last night. If you are a local to that area, you get 10% off always. And if you are a guide, you get 15% off every single time. So go over there and check out Blue Ridge Marine this weekend. Save some money. Always free coffee and cocoa, from what I've been told. Young Deer Creek is off limits tomorrow to all gas burner bass boats. You guys are not allowed there. What's up, traveling fishermen? Yeah, I don't know, Tim, if they got the news or not, that they're not allowed to be over there. Brooks said the turnover is pretty serious north of Browns Bridge. Doc Holiday said, yeah, and listen, that's something that people are going to have to deal with this weekend, right? Some people are pretty good at fishing the turnover. Some guys really struggle. I don't know. The good thing about Lanier is it's not like across the lake all at once, right? And all your bigger lakes, it's not happening all at once. So you can find clean water. But if you can figure out that turnover, you're ahead of the game for sure. And again, this is a free for all Friday, so we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Again, I want to go ahead and Saturday night. What's up, DP and Tony? Saturday night, doing a special live well. Going to have Dana for SCP fishing. And that'd be a good question if you guys want to know about the turnover, because he does fish the northern part of Lanier a lot. Cool thing is he fished Gunnersville just, I believe, this past week as well. So we're going to be able to talk tomorrow night, Gunnersville, Lanier, and that's going to be at 8 o'clock. So if you guys aren't doing anything by that time, all the good college football games have been played out. If there's a good one on, just turn it on and listen to us. Bring your questions and your comments, and we'll talk and kind of pick Dana's brain. It's been a long time since Dana's been on. In fact, it's probably been a few years. I'm trying to remember. I did record a pre-recorded one with him, and the drive messed up. But with Dana's work schedule, it's so hard to get him, and he never could come down on a Tuesday or Thursday night. So it is a bonus podcast. And you guys are going to start getting those from time to time. It's a little bit easier with some of these people. They might only be free on Wednesday. I don't know if you guys follow him on YouTube, but Bass Geek, or TikTok as well. Bass Geek. Just a cool dude that, I mean, just go check out his channels. That's about the best way to describe it. Talk to him. So he works like, what's that shift where you were like 3 on, 4 off, 4 on, 3 off, one of those? And so we have to try to pin it down when he's available. And that might actually be on a Friday night or something. But we're going to start doing those a little more often too. But Dana's going to be on, and I'm looking forward to it because he's a super cool dude, right? What's going on, Ed? How you doing over there on TikTok? Dana's a super cool dude, and listen, he's very simplistic in the way he fishes, but he does well with the details, right? He does very well with the details. And, everybody can say, hey, he's throwing a hair jig. Yeah, sure. But watch what he does. Watch where he's fishing at. Traveling Fisherman said, let's see. Oh, I got to get my coffee cup out of the way so I can read that. Great guy. Met him twice at ICAST. Okay, totally cool. Dana can fish. And you know what? The good thing about Dana is he has fun doing it, right? I mean, even when he's freezing his ass off out there, and he doesn't care what he catches, right? Spot, largemouth, striper. He enjoys it all. And that's the cool thing about Dana, but we're going to pick his brain. So JT Turner, lunchtime, finally made alive. There you go. Dana is the one that got me throwing the black and blue, and it works. And John G wants to know, when did you say Dana will be on tomorrow night? Saturday night, 8 to 10, or 8 to however long we go, right? We will see. I think last night we could have talked for another hour and a half if we wanted to. But I knew them guys had to get, by the time I get warmed up, they've got to go to bed. And I have to keep remembering and reminding myself that just because I'm sitting at my house doesn't mean that I can talk for another 2.5, 3 hours. Now, Tracy Coker, right here. For those without forward facing, fishing the turnover. What worked for us before was fishing spinner baits, crankbaits, topwater and jigs, points with brush and back in the creeks and pockets. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Jeff Brazil, last night was fun. It is a great Saturday night idea. Coker, there were a lot of things that people threw before forward facing, right? Simplistic, kind of like what you just said. And find some clean water. And I know sometimes that's tougher than others. I know when Latham over here turns over, because it's only 300 and something acres, a little bit tougher to find some clean water, right? But on Lanier, 38,000 acres, you should be able to find something. Maybe not ideal, but find something. Hey, we're all sitting at home last night. I'm good because I didn't even go to bed till midnight. Yeah, I was worried about Kevin, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. Last winter, I was getting skunked until I started using his hair jig retrieve. Worked every time I was around dock lights, stripers, and spots. And I mean, if you watch it, it's that semi-slight line. There's a couple other guys I know that implement that. I will say Farmer has a technique that he fishes. We don't talk about it a lot, but with a certain couple style baits, he does that very similar retrieve, right? And you can say this for Dana, it's consistent, right? And it's consistent for Farmer. And there are sometimes, and I actually, you don't have to have forward facing sonar as well to do that retrieve. you're throwing at a certain thing, right? You're throwing at, like you said, dock lights. You're throwing at a point. You're throwing at a blowdown. Certain things like that, or coming across those points with rocks, and it's just almost kind of, I don't know, I won't say guaranteed because nothing's guaranteed, but it's effective, right? That's the big thing is it's effective. And also too, if you watch Dana, like I said, I mean, largemouth spots, he catches them all. And then when he gets in those stripers, man, he gets tickled. He loves it all. When if there is one person out there when you say the tug is the drug, you can say that with Dana for sure. Anyone seen the white jelly stuff floating in Stamp and McCaskey creeks? They look like oysters or clams with no shell. Sounds like a sewage spill to me, Derek Spicer. I don't know if I mean, has anybody seen the white jelly stuff over on Lake Allatoona, specifically Stamp and McCaskey creeks? It sounds like Lake Ackworth and something that John would be describing every time they have one of those sewage spills over there, right? But no, I have not seen it. But you guys, if you have, let us know. Yeah, Dana goes hee once he catches a fish. There he is. You don't always need clean water. Just find the bait and you'll find some fish. That's true. That is true. But yeah, you went down a couple comments. Clean water does help. Does it not, right? Does it not? Now, Patricia, this is one thing too. A lot of guys, this was the way back in the day, right? A Carolina rig makes a good depth finder. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's old school kind of things. It does. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have it, but that's the way the old timers would do, right? You had your lake map, and then you had a Carolina rig and stuff. Now I saw some on a booby last night, but I think it was mine. Cletus, good Lord, son, my goodness. We also showed that picture of you last night. For those of you that didn't see it, I'm gonna pull it up one more time right here. Since I got you on, Clint, what the hell was this? You guys see that right there? Now we kind of figured out. What did you guys say it was? I didn't know what it was, but the simple fact that the girl, let's see, I gotta go this way, is wrapped. I didn't even realize she was a fish. We thought it was just kind of some kind of predator kind of thing going on. Um, that's right. Finding Nemo is what you guys said. I didn't know. I don't know what Finding Nemo is. I mean, I know what it is, but I didn't watch that stuff. But still, Clint, I wish I could show your legs. I should have done it to just so I could show your legs. But listen, I'm gonna give you confidence on that. You got some confidence to pull that off, and I commend you for doing that. In this day and age, though, you don't walk around with a female in a plastic bag. You never know what people are gonna think, right? But hey, listen, it is Halloween, right? Having some fun. Um, Now let's go back up. So, coming from a plumber, Derek says, coming from a plumber, didn't look like any sewage. All right, so he knows what he's talking about when it comes to that. I am not a plumber, but I will tell you this: I learned that the hard way. Had a mobile home off 141. Didn't think nothing about it. It was on a concrete slab, but didn't think nothing about it and got to noticing water coming out from under the underpinning. This is back, as we're talking like 1992. And I crawled up under that thing. And what had happened was right before the main drain or whatever you want to say goes down, went down to like the septic tank or whatever, it had come loose. And that stuff had been spilling out onto, I guess you could say, that slab for, let's just say, not a ton of time, but because the leak was on the back side of my house when I saw it. So it'd been there for a hot minute. And I had to get down there and squeegee that stuff. So I kind of know what you're talking about a little bit. It gives me the heebie jeebers just thinking about it. Um, let's just see. I've never fished a hair jig. Is that for offshore fishing? No, John G. A lot of people. So first, I think Dana, if you watch tomorrow night, we'll talk about it because he said it on the show before. This is a walleye jig. I believe he's from Oklahoma. I have to remember. It's been a hot minute, but I think he's from Oklahoma. And they got plenty of walleye out there. And so this was a walleye jig or a walleye technique that he brought when he moved out here. And just started using it, and it worked. And also, too, a little interesting fact, 2 things about Dana. First of all, if you go to FCP Fishing, again, I said this last night, if you go watch, listen, that intro music, that's him. He's playing everything. He's a hell of a musician. But also for you Atlanta Braves fans, if you remember Zane Smith back in the day, the pitcher, Zane Smith, that's Dana's brother. Now, that's so, I mean, there's your little interesting fact about that. Um, let's see what we got. La 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 la, Darla from Nemo. Food stamp riots coming in, incoming. Good grief. Uh, I don't mind that dirty work. No sewage cleanup for me though. I don't do that dirty work. Okay, I don't do that. Yeah, it was rough, dude. Try laying under a mobile home in the winter trying to thaw water and sewer lines. Fun times. I've done that. It's been a hot minute now. See, if you remember the blizzard of '93, for those of you that were in Georgia during the blizzard of '93, that was where I was living at the time. No power, nothing. You talking about everything being froze. Holy Toledo. That's where I lived during the blizzard. And so, yeah, everything was froze, including 141. I think we were out of work because let's see, I forget how long I was out of work. There's Dana. Dana, I'm just telling everybody you're going to be on tomorrow night. So you haven't missed nothing. What is Dana's YouTube channel? It's FCP Fishing. FCP Fishing. And I will type that for you guys. Again, multitasking as only I can. I believe that. Yeah, Caleb Acosta Fishing wasn't even born yet. Listen, a lot of you guys were not born yet that's watching this today. But I will tell you this. That's the coldest I've ever been in Georgia. Now, I mean, I know there has been colder mornings and all that, but the wind was blowing like crazy. And that snow came in, and then it was bluebird skies afterwards. And so, like, even if you went outside, there was so much snow and everything, it blinds your ass. But that was some serious cold. Tyler Shelnut remembers that blizzard like it was yesterday. Yeah, what is he, like 12? 1993 is prehistoric, Tyler. What's up, Alex? Tyler, I graduated in 1990. I mean, I graduated before all this. This is crazy. Every time we do something like this, I feel a little older and a little older. Steven just subscribed to his channel last night. Cool content. See, Dana, I'm getting you some subscribers right here. How's the water temp on Lanier? I mean, I don't know. Dana's been on it probably. You guys, what's the water temp on Lanier right now? And Dana says, bring on the snow. Interesting thing about snow, and y'all gonna hear them babies again. Good Lord, let me tell you something, guys. 1:30, 2 o'clock, and my wife did a lot more than I did, but I was up feeding a baby last night a bottle at like 1:30. I ain't done that since my kid was. I might have done it for my great niece maybe once or twice. I did graduate, but I tell you what, these twins right here, I'm the cryingest kids. You hear it? Oh Lord, I set a lungs right there. Now, Tyler, you're so young you can't even read about it. That's true, right there. DP's fishing misadventures. I remember -5 in '85, -8 snow jam '82. I remember that. The snow of '73 in Middle Georgia. I was only one during that time, but I do remember in '85 because we were out of school for like 2 weeks, and I think there was one like in 80, 85, 86. I believe that was it. I also lived in LaGrange when I was younger, when that snowstorm came through LaGrange back in the early '70s or late '70s too. What's up, Messick? But see, here's the thing, Purdue, Doc, us older guys, Dana, we'll throw you in there as well. Dana's like, I ain't that old. Yeah, you're our age. But what's funny is remembering this stuff, remembering all of this stuff. And guys are like we are the old guys now. It's crazy. Tim said, nope, no Wi-Fi or cell phones, beeper generation. You know, we actually went outside when it snowed back then. We didn't sit inside playing video games and stuff. I mean, I tell you what, the kids that we lived on a dirt road, a gravel road in Forsyth County. We played our tackle football on the gravel road. We had a huge hill and we would fly down that hill on our bikes and hit those ramps. And sometimes you would just skid and you'd lose control. I remember one time it felt like I was running 30 when I hit that ramp and I pulled up because, you had to pull up when you jumped the, BMX bike, and my handlebars flew out of the damn thing. So now I'm going through the air with the handlebars up here above my head. Good times, right? good times. But the best thing about the 80s is exactly kind of what he said. No cell phones, no pics. You guys ain't got no proof. It's all in our mind. I got my first cell phone in 96. It was about that time, Tim. Amanda and I believe we were married, and I was playing a softball tournament over in Marietta. Whatever that Al Bishop in Fisherman 91 out there. Um, I believe it was Al Bishop Park or something like that. And we went to like a Walmart or something like that, and they had the little new thing, and it was one of those. It was in a bag. My phone was one of those that you zipped in a bag. It had the cord to the thing. You still had to press the numbers and all that. But that was back, I mean, somewhere right in that time. Payphones cost a dime and were outside of every 7-Eleven for sure. Should have seen the snow on Rayburn this year during the Toyota event, JT Turner. I can imagine. Now, speaking of snow, though, Lanier, a lot of guys will tell you Lanier gets on fire when it snows. Some of the best days ever for a lot of guys have been during the snow, sleet, kind of nasty weather. But I will tell you this: you sitting in a Phoenix or something like that, running 60 something down the lake during a sleet, little bit of sleet and all that. That shit hurts. Bag phones. That's exactly what I had. We had a bag phone, and I don't even know if we got it up in the attic anymore. It probably worth some money, but I never kept crap. But it might be up there. Now, Tony got his first cell phone in 2003. My ex-wife had our only cell phone when I joined the military. Clint, you pulled off your Halloween costumes pretty good. Best thing about the 80s was I was born, Clayton Self said. Hey, listen, brother, right at you. I was born in the 70s, but we came up to the 80s. And you could do things. Here's a perfect example of the 80s compared to now. And you guys know I love Van Halen, but whatever. Go watch the second you get off of this, pull up YouTube and pull up the Hot for Teacher video by Van Halen. Watch that video where the teacher is actually stripping in front of the kids in the classroom and tell me if that could get pulled off today. That is the 80s in a heartbeat. There were things that you could do back in the 80s that you just can't do now. All you young people and your damn mamas ruined it for us. The 80s were the best. 56-year-old here. You were cool if you had a CB radio in your car to find your friends on Friday night. 100% FCP fishing. We grew up in the best era, and we definitely had the best music, right? We definitely had that. John said they had a motocross track in our backyard growing up in a very nice neighborhood, lived next door to a doctor. I had 7 brothers and sisters, and the neighbors hated us. I bet they did. Now, when Tim went to work for Bell South, he got it to work on payphones. Ain't that something? Y'all need to dress up on the podcast. We will do it. We did it last year. And because last year he was Billy Ray Cyrus. I was the Bush Light guy. Dave Aldridge. We're not going to forget Dave this time. He was Darth Vader. And Alex was Joe Dirt. He was Joe Dirt. So we'll do that. Next Tuesday's a Halloween show. Damn, is it here that quick? CB tag was the highlight of my teen years. My dad, he had a CB handle. Let's see. Oh, let me read the Traveling Fisherman. All we needed was our bikes, walkie-talkies, and a sleeping bag. And we drank out of the daggum water hose for real, and we rode in the back of the trucks, and all our parents smoked cigarettes and, all that kind of stuff. And we survived somehow, right? I mean, we would play war. The kids in the neighborhood, we would pick up pine cones, and not the ones that had already opened. Them closed son of a guns with the sharp, the ones I'm talking about. We'd peg our, each other. We snuck out at night. We did everything. It was just different. Just different. But yeah, the music was absolutely crazy back then. That's back when everybody played their own instruments, right? You remember that. But my dad, he had a CB handle, and he was called the Frog Man. And to this day, I mean, he's done passed on. I don't know why in the hell he was called the Frog Man. I never really found that out. Hard green pine cones, Jam Fam, 100%, buddy. That's it. And them little boogers hurt. And we would shoot BB guns at each other, but you had to shoot waist down, right? And it had to be the Red Ryder kind, not the kind you could pump up 32 times and start, had to be like 1 or 2 pumps on the little Red Ryder or whatever, waist down. I remember one of the worst fights I ever got with my brother. You remember jarts? You young guys probably don't know this because they've been outlawed forever, but jarts were a supersized dart, and you'd throw it up kind of like horseshoes in the ground. And so they've outlawed that crap because, of course, like everything else, some idiot had to ruin it for us because they didn't know how to do it right. Lawn darts, that's what it was. And you would just pop that joker up like you had a round circle. You guys remember, you had a round circle and you threw your jart. You guys play with bean bags now. Okay. What the hell is that bean bag crap that they do now? This is where society has gone wrong. You guys got to throw the soft bean bag at a little piece of wood. No, hell no. Back in the 80s, we were rocking them damn jarts 100 foot in the air. And if they landed on your head, that's your fault that you didn't get out of the way. But we had that. But I remember throwing them things at my brother. And we got a really big fight. I remember running in the house off of Glen Wallace Drive, locking the front door. He picks up a baseball bat. He starts beating the front door like a dumbass. Cornhole, that's right. You guys play cornhole. We play jarts. And to the day we left, those indentions in the front door were there, where my brother chased me in there with a baseball bat because I was throwing jarts at him. But that's just the difference. In the 80s, somewhere about the 90s, you guys started just absolutely ruining everything. We had rock wars in an old abandoned camper in the woods. Yeah, we did. That's what I'm saying. Whatever you could pick up to beam somebody. We played the smear the. You remember, just whoever had the ball, you hit it. I'm not going to say it. I might get thrown off TikTok, but you guys know what I'm saying. Miss playing horseshoes. I've got a scar on my knee because my aunt and my uncle had horseshoe stobs in their backyard, and we were playing football. And I remember my cousin throwing one, and I'm going long. I'm looking at the ball, jump up, and my knee came right down on top of a horseshoe stob. My Aunt Joan got pissed off and pulled them things up that day. Had to go get stitches. Bottle rocket wars, Chris Crosby. Yeah, 100%, man. See, there you go, John G. We had BB gun battles too. I still have one in my shoulder. I've got a cousin that's got a pellet in his stomach somewhere. I didn't shoot that. Now, getting the new phone book and looking up your name, we did that. Party phone lines with your mom eavesdropping on the other conversation and passing along gossip. The Sears catalog for all you 13-year-old boys. This is before Sports Illustrated started doing that. You had the Sears catalog. Of course, you had the Bass Pro Shop catalog back in the day. Crazy times. When we grew up, Danny, Evel Knievel was the baddest dude alive. He was. And you watched we were talking about this, with the fishing, even last night, a little bit. When we were talking about heroes. Back in the 80s, we had heroes, right? You young guys, I don't even know who your heroes are anymore. But we had guys like Evel Knievel and, baseball players and everything. The day McDonald's got sued for $1 million because the coffee was too hot, that's the day the country started down the wrong path, Tim White. I agree with you 100%. Like, who orders cold coffee? You should know that. But yeah, Steven says, we were fortunate enough to grow up knowing people from the greatest generation, World War II and the Korean conflict. They seem to understand that everyone couldn't stay safe all the time. Yeah, and it's different. And maybe it's our fault. I don't know. We all did the Evel Knievel stunts. That's what I'm talking about with the going down that big, huge hill we had on Glen Wallace Drive. You really honestly were running on your dirt bike, probably 20-something miles an hour coming down that thing, which I know doesn't seem fast, but if you're on a gravel road, a slick-ass, dusty gravel road, at any second, that back tire is going to come out, right? And we would hit these homemade ramps. And if you really didn't like the kid that was jumping it, I know this is wrong, but you got to think about a fulcrum. Instead of putting the ramp, here's your ramp, and you put what you're holding it up with at the end, if he pissed you off, you would slide it towards the middle so that when his front tire hit that ramp, that back tire would kick up and catch that back wheel. Mean as hell, but that's what we did. And you would go out with your friends, riding your bike all over on an adventure. Only rule, be home before the street lights came on. Parents today would never let that fly. And I will tell you this, we used an old metal slide as a ramp. Yeah. Chuck Norris, for sure. But even Chuck Norris was kind of like, that was back when we had 2 VCRs and we pirated every VHS tape that we did. Every VHS. And so, like, you would record it and put the blank in the other one, and we would just pirate them. My grandma, not my grandma, my mom still has a attic full of those old VHS tapes. Stack of tires, thin piece of plywood for sure. GI Jane changed everything, kind of. The good days are definitely behind us. I try to replicate it for my kids. Now listen, Clint says, I'm fortunate being late 90s class where I still grew up outside hunting and fishing, riding bikes to town as the first taste of freedom. And the only touching tips that was cool was samurai swords. Yeah. What's up, Thomas Alexander on TikTok? But you're on the tail end. And yeah, we only had a couple channels. We only had a couple channels back then. And I wished, I tell my kids, like, the 80s, everything about the 80s was good. Now, I'm sure the people before said everything about the 60s was good and so on and so forth and all that. But I think the 80s was the last great decadent generation. Just it was. Transformers had just started to come out, like when they were actually the little bitty toys. Like what was like you guys that were older? Like I had a let's see, what did we have? I had the original Atari when it first came out. The game I wanted to play was Pitfall. And you had asteroids. You went to the Pizza Hut and they had the flat asteroids table, and you always wanted to have a bunch of quarters while your parents are drinking beer, eating pizza. Dad, can I go play asteroids over there? We did that. We had our football. You guys have video games, and you older guys are going to remember this. We had a game where it was actual football field, and you had these little plastic guys, and you would line them up, defense and offense, and you'd hit this damn button, it would vibrate, and that's the way the play went. And that thing's just vibrating like hell till technically another defensive guy ran into your offensive guy, and that was a tackle. And then you would set it back up, and you would play that for hours and hours and hours. And the video game first was Pong. That was the first video game. It was just like this. You guys can see it right here. That ding, 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 ding. And it's just a damn ball going, a little thing going back and forth. It was table tennis. Man, when I was a kid, we built a wrestling ring out of our trampoline, like a legit ring. We had an old VHS recorder that was given to us and reenacted wrestling matches. Those were the times. Pitfall was addicting. It was definitely the game to have, and I got in trouble because for my birthday, I asked for Pitfall. And my mom, she went and I didn't know. Of course, she didn't want to let me know, but she bought it and wrapped it and put it on top of the refrigerator. Okay, like, listen, I know it's there. I know what it is. And I know that if I'm really careful, I can unwrap that thing and play with it and then wrap it back up and put it back on top of the refrigerator. Mom would never know, right? Shit, no, not my mama. She taped it in a certain way so as to let her know if it got screwed with. So therefore, I got grounded from my birthday present for like till 2 weeks after my birthday present. We had duck hunt. I was fishing with a Zebco 33 in the creek when I was 5 years old by myself. Same thing, FCP. Dana, we had a little acre and a half pond in the backyard, and all I was able to throw, because that's all my dad owned, was Zebco 33s. I'd get off the school bus and I would do one of three things. You either chase the girls around the neighborhood. That happened a lot more as we got older. You shot squirrels or turtles, because my first 22, my dad bought it for the sole purpose of anytime I saw a turtle on a log in his lake, I was to pop it. And if you hit that thing just right with a hollow point, they'd blow up. If you hit it wrong, it'd just knock them off. And then fish. That was it. But your chores had to be done before mom and dad got home, because we were latchkey kids, right? Both parents started working. This was a generation that the parents were all working. Oh, Lord, if they knew half the stuff. What's up, Pontoon Jody? Pac-Man. Again, I had we're going to show our age right here, and you old guys will know. They came out with a 33, an LP of all these songs about video games. It had Pac-Man Fever, and it had cheat sheets, right? We had the cheat sheet so that we could get to the next level. Do you remember the game console, when the game console came out, called Intellivision? It was supposed to compete with the Atari 2600. It totally sucked. I did not have the Intellivision, but I do remember things like that. And I remember, what was it? It was the Commodore 64 was like one of the first computers. I know they had something like for the family. It was a Commodore 64, and really all it was an electronic typewriter so that you could do your homework. We were camping when I was around 3. Everyone woke up one morning and I was nowhere to be found. My pawpaw found me down at the lake fishing. Hey, you speaking of camping, used to every campground on Lake Lanier was open. And every summer for a week, my family, my mom's family, my papa, all aunts and uncles, we went down there. And if you know the Sawney campground, as you're going on Buford Dam and you're driving Buford Dam and you pass the entrance and keep on going, there is a kind of like a little peninsula. And it's got about 4 or 5 campsites on it. Of course, nobody uses it anymore. And it's right before it's the last one that you can see before you get to West Bank. Every summer for a week, we would rent that and we would go out and then I would fish. I would be catching a little brim and the occasional carp or something. But that's how old I am. And there was a little store. You went down the 2 big hills. And as you came up to the top of the second hill before you got to where Buford Dam Bait and Tackle is now, a little ways, there was an old concrete block convenience store. And we would buy carp bait or these little cheese balls. That's what we fished with back in the day. Do y'all remember the time when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? Hey, listen, James, that's even later on. Montgomery Wards. Well, I mean, hell, we shopped at Kmart. And I can tell you too, when we first moved to Cumming, if you wanted to go buy clothes, you didn't do it in Cumming. You went to Roswell or you went to Doraville. It's changed so much. I don't know how many times we made that trip through Duluth down to Doraville to go to the Zales or the Richway, all these old-timey things that are no longer in business. I thought Cumming, when we moved up from Alpharetta to Forsyth County, I thought Cumming was a third world just country. It was like, I can't even believe, what the hell. First year I played baseball, Midway. Okay, I came from Alpharetta. We had nice uniforms, great fields, played at Wills Park. Everything was nice. I come up here to Midway, and I remember crying because they give us our uniforms. First of all, it's a mustard yellow shirt. The shirt was the only thing, no, the hat was the only thing you got new. I had a hand-me-down shirt and hand-me-down stained up ball pants. And we played Midway Ballpark at the time, had one big field and one little T-ball field. It was like a damn cow pasture. That's what Forsyth County was. Tecmo Bowl. Bo Jackson was unstoppable. First gun I ever got was from Kmart. Yeah, Kmart was top. That was it back there. The old blue light special. And if you remember, Kmart used to have like a like concessions or a little restaurant in there, kind of like what Costco's got now. I'm missing a lot. We're just yapping today. But Tecmo Bowl. And what was the handheld football game that was just like Pong? Kind of. You had like 2 offensive linemen and 1 guy and a couple of defensive guys, and you went up, down, forward, up, down, forward. I know my mom still got it. I can't remember what it was called. But I know you guys that are my age remember that because that was highbrow right then. And it ran off a 9-volt battery. And I don't know how many 9-volt batteries I went through in my life playing that game. Kmart was the Walmart of the South. Yeah, it was. Now, the Game Boy came out a little bit later, right? And that's right. Listen, Far Dog from Oklahoma is telling you, hit that like button, guys. And if you ain't subscribed, subscribe. But it was, the Game Boy and all that, Game Bot, I don't know. Well, hell, entertainment, you remember Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Just 2 plastic robots, and you had to hit that some bitch like you're doing the gopher thing just to get them to punch. And if you landed the right punch, the other one's head would pop up. How many hours of enjoyment did we have? You can still get those football games at Walmart around Christmas every year. They're retro. Yeah. See, that shows you how good it was that you guys can still have the opportunity to get the video games that we played. But electronic football, that's exactly what it was. I mean, it was crazy. Greg says, I worked for a company that made the housings for the VIC 64s in the 80s, produced 4 a minute, 24/7 for almost a year. That's crazy. Now I worked at Phillips Brooks and all that in Cumming, and they made the payphones for like down at the airport and everything. And I've told the story about falling asleep and what they all did to me when I was 16 years old. It was a terrible thing for adults to do to a young man. Plinking with a BB gun is still pretty fun for entertainment. Yeah. I'd like to shoot my son a couple times in the leg when he has his shorts on just to see, what he thinks about it. They make a game called Retro Bowl on your phone. It was a thing to do when you didn't want to pay attention in high school. Guys, if you didn't want to pay attention in school when we went, or if there was a girl over there that you liked, you had to actually write a damn note. And you had to fold it up, and then you had to do this little passing the chain along kind of thing with your buddies to get over to said girl. And if she liked you, she would write yes or no back, and then it had to come back all the way back through. That was technology back then. Remember those stupid water-filled games that you had to try to get the small rings in on the right spot? Yes, I do. Never was good at that. Sucked at it. Sears sold houses out of the catalogs. $20,000. They did. I start writing notes in first grade when the teacher grabbed it, or you would stuff it in her locker, or you would get stuffed in a locker. And we always had to sell them damn every year fundraising. You did the gift wrap for Christmas, and you sold them damn chocolate candy bars for $1. And you go door to door. Hey, would you like to buy some chocolate? Would you guys like to buy some chocolate? We're raising money for our school. We need something. I don't know what in the hell we're doing, but would you like to buy chocolate? Today, FNGO stands for Fisherman Now Getting Old. I got reminded of my age today. That's right, Ken. We got SWATs if we got out of line in school. The teacher would light your butt up. I got a paddling. My mother-in-law, it's my wife's stepmother, she was the home ec teacher at South Forsyth High. And I had a agriculture with Coach Hogan. Mr. Hogan was my agriculture teacher. And the only thing I remember out of that is I do remember that beef, him teaching us about more marbling and beef was a good thing. But he told us to be quiet one time. And anyway, of course, I didn't. You guys can kind of figure that out. So he took my ass out, and she was the witness to me getting paddled. And I got my ass paddled in parachute pants. For those of you younger ones don't know, the joy of a thin plastic ass, whatever the hell it is, vinyl on your butt and a paddle is not a great recipe for an enjoyable time. But she watched it, and that's the funny. And I couldn't stand her. I thought she was the meanest teacher in that entire school. And then one day, me and Amanda started dating. We go up to Dawsonville. She's going to introduce me to her dad and her parents. And Miss Perkins opened up the door, and I went, "Holy shit!" And she goes, "Hello, Danny," and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is the start of a bad movie, boys. I'm not going to make it out of Dawsonville alive." But she's always been super sweet to me. But in school, oh my lord, and I didn't give two shits about whether they sewed a pillow or a baby and walked around with it because she taught home economics. At the time, I didn't think that was a very cool class, and I did not think she was a very cool teacher. A lot of people that went through Forsyth County schools back in the day, they know or knew Mrs. Perkins. I'd love a caramel one right now. I don't know what you're talking about, Nick D. But yeah, I mean, seriously, I opened that door up and I thought, because listen, she was like my mortal enemy in middle school. Like she was my enemy. Like if I could feel her presence, and she was always staring at me. Yeah, and ended up marrying into her family. It's crazy. I had to take Nintendo games out and blow on them to try to clean them. Did that with the Atari games for sure. Laugh In had that. I mean, we had the Carol Burnett show. We had MASH. We had Sanford and Son. We had a lot of good stuff. Um, WKRP in Cincinnati. That was one. Remember the turkey where they dropped the turkeys off the thing? Of course, Friday nights, Dukes of Hazzard, Dallas, Knots Landing, those kind of shows. Football was Saturday only, and you had Monday night game. And on Howard Cosell, I mean, I was alive when Howard Cosell was still calling games. And he would do a lot of the Wide World of Sports boxing matches and stuff. The best cartoons of all time, because now they're all outlawed as being racist. I mean, you go back and watch some of the old Bugs Bunny and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they were kind of sketch. But you didn't even know, right? Back at the time, I didn't know. We had no idea what some of them cartoons were saying. And you go back and watch them now, and you're like, damn. Yeah, that was rough. That was a little bit rough. Smokey and the Bandit, the Clint Eastwood movies, Any Which Way But Loose. My dad watched Dadgum Patton on TBS on Sunday mornings, that and Midway, those two war movies that TBS would put on every Sunday morning. I think the 10 o'clock movie on TBS or something was a war movie every single Sunday. My dad watched every single one of them. I don't know how many times I watched Patton growing up. I could quote Patton now, and I didn't even watch it. I haven't watched it in forever. Great disaster movies, Airport, Earthquake, Jaws, but also too movies that they can't make anymore, like Blazing Saddles. You remember those? The Poseidon Adventure for sure. Mr. Green Jeans, Rifleman, Chuck Connors. You guys, all of us today is the old guy day, right? Today, 100%. You young guys, on you guys today. Today is all about us old men. We are celebrating the best time. But you're right. I mean, the cartoons were great. If you wanted to watch sports, it was Saturday afternoon. If you wanted to watch fishing, it was Saturday. Bill Dance, all that stuff. Blazing Saddles is one of the funniest movies ever made. And the original Bad News Bears. Not the remake, the original Bad News Bears. My dad woke me up every Saturday morning at 5:30 to watch The Rifleman. Dude, I liked old Foghorn Leghorn cartoons. He used to whip the shit out of that poor hound dog. He did. He did, right? 96 Rock, we had that. All those shows are why no one got offended back then. Everybody, that's exactly right. I mean, anything Mel Brooks did back in the day. Does 35 count as young? Is that what you're saying right there? Let me move that. No, 35. Yeah, 35 is young. The Goonies, Beaver, Wally, and Lumpy. The nastiest thing ever said on public TV was, Ward, you were a little hard on the Beaver last night. That was off of, what was that movie? With Leslie Nielsen when he was a cop. I Dream of Jeannie, and we all dreamed of Jeannie. Gilligan's Island, when I was down in the Bahamas with Digital Sportsman, they were taking us on a little tour. We actually passed the island that you see in the beginning of Gilligan's Island. There is an actual Gilligan's Island right there. The Partridge Family. I never got into the Partridge Family. My dad was big on MASH. My gosh, we watched MASH every single time. And I think that might have been one of the few times I saw my dad cry was when MASH ended. But Sanford and Son was one we never missed. My dad watched Sanford and Son like just law that you had to watch Sanford and Son. And All in the Family, Archie Bunker. Think about that. And the things that they said on Archie Bunker, you could not say today. What in the hell did Ward Cleaver do for a living? Never saw him go to work ever. That's true. Now that you mention it, the Jeffersons, All in the Family, for sure. I still watch MASH every night during dinner. Clayton says, on what channel? Gunsmoke, my favorite Martian. Don Curson. Well, okay. How about this? American Bandstand. Okay, you had American Bandstand back then. I'm Coming, Elizabeth. It's the big one for sure. The original Star Trek. I still like Cheers. That was a good one. You know what? We're definitely going down memory lane today. Did not have this on my bingo card for today, but it's still pretty cool. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but back then our grandfathers would give us dip and chewing tobacco when you were 11 years old, 12 years old. They never gave us cigarettes, but if they chewed, here, put some in your mouth. You'd throw up and they'd laugh, but then they'd give you some more. You could drive back then. You could be 13 years old and drive to the neighbor's house. If you lived on dirt roads and could use dirt roads to go back ways. What was dial-up internet like? We didn't even have it. There was no such thing as the internet. And if you wanted to learn something, you had to get the Funkin' Wagnalls or the Encyclopedia Britannica. You actually had to go into the library and look shit up. And you had to figure out what page it was on, right? And then you had to get to that page, and then you had to take notes. There was no camera to take a picture of it. When nothing else was on, my mom would watch the damn Lawrence Welk show. What was that? What was that telethon that used the Jerry Lee Lewis telethon that came up every year? That's how they raised money. There was no GoFundMe. You had to do the telethons. And of course, Johnny Carson. And if you really want to get what kind of twist your mind, Benny Hill. How many of us guys stayed up late, 11:30 to watch Benny Hill? Because it was kind of risque back in the day, right? The Labor Day telethon. You had to use the card catalog. How about this? Ultraman, he living to fish. Yeah, no doubt. Sling Blade and Deliverance. Now, Deliverance, yeah, I didn't watch Deliverance till I got older. Faces of Death. You could go rent that. That was in the section that you had to be like 18 and up. The Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. You guys are throwing it out there today. Ain't it crazy? I can remember when we first got call waiting. Because back in the time, if you wanted to call a girl and she had a brother or sister or a mama that liked to talk on the phone, it would be hours of meh, 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 meh. Land of the Lost. Yeah, for sure. Gremlins. And you know what? I mean, I remember the original Air Jordans when they came out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. When I come your way, where we're going to fish? Lanier. If you're going to fish anywhere, you're going to go to Lanier. Blockbuster. I tell y'all, my grandmother and my great grandma made me watch Days of Our Lives every day. Good grief. That is another thing, too. If you had a granny or you had a mom that stayed at home with you during the summertime, there was only X amount of channels, right? Your ass was either outside, but if you was inside, you was watching soap operas, whether you liked it or not. And they took that crap serious. And if you went to the grocery store, it ain't as big now as it used to be. Remember the National Enquirer, how they killed JFK. Elvis is still alive. Aliens are in the White House. So-and-so, you know what I'm saying. Three's Company. Oh, Suzanne Summers. Y'all remember that too when she started doing the exercise stuff? And she had that thing that she would squeeze between her legs. I don't even know what it was called. Richard Simmons. How about Beta before VHS? Guys, we are really going down the rabbit hole today on this. Wide World of Sports on ABC in the 60s. Days of Our Lives was terrible, almost always outside feeding the mosquitoes. The Thigh Master. That's it, Tracy Coker. You remember that Suzanne Summers came out with the Thigh Master and you squeezed it. I guess it was good for the Kegels. I don't know. You squeezed it and squeezed it and squeezed it. I don't even know if I could do that now. Yeah, the Thigh Master. Everybody's Thigh Master. Her husband has put out an AI of Suzanne. That's crazy. I was not that old, but I loved watching X-Files from the 90s. Well, we had the original Twilight Zone. We had a teacher that would do the Spock move on boys in the 7th grade. You talking about the one with the shoulder? It was fun to watch, Tracy Coker. You talking about that little poke in the shoulder? Danny, when I was growing up, our telephone was what they called a party line. I listened to many of an old black lady's conversations. Ronnie Keener, right here, Mutual of Omaha. I was forced to watch Hee Haw. I'm still scarred from it. And I liked Hee Haw. The Vulcan Pinch, yeah. Doctor Who. Boy, the comments going crazy today. And we probably done run all the young kids off hell with them today, right? This is pretty good because you guys are bringing up some stuff that I don't even remember. Jolt Cola. Yeah. Grizzly Adams. What was that guy slapped his ass at ICAST? The Bill Dance of Up North. Good grief. I can't think of his name. Big, tall son of a gun. It'll come to me in a second. But yeah, the Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Now, Buffy the Vampire Slayer does not count, Colton Posey. Yeah, that is way too young. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But see, look, Colton, here's the thing. No, Babe Winkleman, that's it. Yeah, I slapped Babe Winkleman on the ass. I was born and raised in Philly when breakdancing came out. We were all in on it. I won the breakdancing contest in 7th grade at South Forsyth High School. They called me Breaking Dan the Dancing Man, and I won a Tina Turner tape. I wanted the 1984 Van Halen record, but I won Tina Turner Private Dancer instead. What the hell was that kind of prize? Pop Rocks. Larry Munson has a fishing show in Nashville years ago. I didn't know that. Ron Sterling's Night Gallery. Well, I mean, look, MTV came out, right? We were the start of the MTV when that came out. The Boogles or whatever, that Video Killed a Radio Star, that was the first song. And then it just went downhill from there. But that was back when MTV actually played music. Starsky and Hutch. Eddie Murphy comedy, for sure. Now, FCP Fishing, a man after my own heart. I got to see Van Halen on their first tour, life-changing. I've seen Van Halen quite a few times. I did not get to see him that young. But absolutely. Marshall Stamps got an ass grab from you too at ICAST, John G. Yeah, I did. I grabbed his ass too. You got to watch out with me, guys. You ain't expecting it. No Brokeback Mountain, but I'm going to pop you in the butt. Man, you had cable. You were considered rich. I had a twist knob TV. And let me tell you who the remote control was for my dad. It was me or my brother. Get up, change the channel. And you had to turn that damn thing. And then if the picture wasn't good, you had to get the antenna up top, right? You had the rabbit ears. You had to twist them a little bit. Okay, is that good? Right there. Oh man, Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, first video I ever saw on MTV, and that was a good one. I know Steve Sturgeon right here, Lonnie Anderson, and Raquel Welch. Yes, sir. BJ and the Bear. You guys are really throwing it out there, boys. Like these are things I didn't even think about it. Raquel Welch was stunning. And I think even our significant others, if you're married and all that, would go, yeah, yeah, she was. Billy Jack was the best. Tracy Weems. Do y'all remember listening to Andrew Dice Clay? That guy was a funny comedian. I remember him. He was also very on edge. I also remember Congress tried to outlaw some of the rock music and all that. Oh, Tipper Gore and all that stuff because of the lyrics and everything. That's when you had to get labels. Because I can remember when Two Live Crew came out, but they did it with the rock guys too. Like Twisted Sister, their lead singer had to go before Congress. MTV Unplugged used to be great. We had a small antenna outside that you had to turn every time the wind blew. And listen, satellite dishes. When the first satellite dishes came out, remember that? They were like, oh, I got to move my little hickey jigger for the TikTok boys, put the puzzle piece in place. And I missed it, unable to verify. But you remember the first satellite dishes were the size of a Volkswagen? They were huge. If you had a satellite dish, it was like it looked like those things where they're trying to pick up deep space radio waves. Where they got the fields of those, for the government and all that. That's what your first satellite dishes look like. And you could pick up, my father-in-law had one, and you could pick up some like Russian stations on a good clear night. Now, see, Cletus, again, you're too young. Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox and Friends, but that's young, dude. I mean, that was your thing. Yeah, when you didn't want to record unless it had a warning label. Brian 4529 over there on TikTok for sure. Marsha Brady. Who didn't like Marsha Brady back in the day? Daisy Duke. Everybody liked Daisy Duke. Lonnie Anderson. I saw somebody put that up there. I mean, seriously. My grandparents didn't have indoor plumbing. Having to go number 2 on a Nebraska winter night was horrific. It was Nebraska. Earlier, before you got on, I said, I think he's from Oklahoma like that, but Nebraska. That's right. I never had to use an outhouse unless I played softball at one of these. When we played softball, we'd have a tournament out at one of these old country-ass fields. In fact, the one up here off Yellow Creek Road used to be that. It had an outhouse back in the day. Three's Company. For sure. I got to learn how to move this stuff so I can read comments. Let me move this. Janet from Three's Company, better than Chrissy. There you go. What about Ginger on Gilligan's Island? Going to drive-in movies. My grandmother called them passion pits. Heather Locklear on the Fall Guy. You guys, listen, Hootie and the Blowfish, again, listen, you young guys, in 20 years, you will be able to have this conversation. Right now, you can't have this conversation because the things you were doing were just like, that's not old school. You got to go back to the 80s. The OG Charlie's Angels. And Alex is a young guy. I remember watching elementary school and the spaceship blew up as we watched In School Live, the shuttle. We talked about that a couple days ago. Where were we at? Petticoat Junction. That damn. You guys are old. The Addams Family, Beverly Hillbillies. What about the movies Grease and all that? I know that was probably 70s, but I had to watch that crap. Didn't Tommy Lee marry Heather Locklear before Pamela Anderson? I don't know, but he ruined both of them. Agent 99. All right. I don't know. It's like, this is like if we were all just sitting around, like, this is what old farts do. Okay. Saturday Night Fever for sure. Olivia Newton-John. Barbara Mandrell, Linda Ronstadt. They were there. Ronnie Van Sant this week and others. What are you saying? Is that this week kind of Rest in peace, Ronnie. Okay, I got it. Green Acres is the place to be. She wouldn't marry him. They just dated. I'm telling you what, this is great. Hee Haw, though. And you know, what was that? What was the guy on Hee Haw that had the overalls? Junior Samples. He lived in Cumming. He lived off Highway 20. And the reason that I know is because later on, a gentleman bought the house that Junior Samples lived in, and I was doing heat and air, and I had to go in and do some adjustment. But it was Junior Samples' house when he was on Hee Haw, $6 million man. Yeah. Tommy said Heather always said she didn't want to get married ever, and then broke up with him and married the guitarist from Bon Jovi. But Linda Ronstadt was gorgeous. My dad really liked Linda Ronstadt. The Soul Train. How about this? The Car Wash. And I think that was 70s. Disco and all the late 70s stuff kind of was going into the 80s. And then luckily for us, Van Halen and guitars and all that kind of pushed it on out. Hee Haw had some of the finest women alive on there. Go back and watch that. I know it scars you, but Jeff Brazil, that might be the most truthful statement that's been made today. Seriously. And they, it was supposed to be this good, wholesome country, right? This good old wholesome, Roy Clark and what's his name? Acuff or whatever. I forget his name. Roy Clark could play the damn guitar though. Like I would put Roy Clark as top 5 guitarist of all time back in my day. He could play. But you had all this wholesome country stuff and everything and the skits and all that. And then you had all these kind of bimbos. Buck Owens, that's it. Yeah. You guys are in my high school days. That's what I'm saying. Long distance phone calls charged by the minute. Boy, has things changed. This is a good conversation. The best part of Hee Haw was Roy Clark's guitar playing. And if you guys don't appreciate that, go back and watch some stuff of Roy Clark. All right, look, this has been a hell of a conversation. I love this. I could do this for hours, but you guys got to go back to work. Now, again, tomorrow night, unless something changes, Dana, I believe we're good, 8 o'clock. Come watch a special live well. And me and Dana, we're going to talk about Lanier. We're going to talk about Gunnersville. You guys bring your comments, your questions, throw them out there for Dana. We'll try to squeeze some juice from him. Kenny Rogers was married to Mary Ann for a long time. I didn't know that. But what about, hey, listen, Dolly Parton in the 80s. That was Dolly before she was plastic, right? Holy Toledo. Anyway, you guys join us tomorrow night. Yeah, you got to get back to work. Great conversation. I mean, we didn't even talk fishing hardly. That's what I love about this stuff. You never know. Again, free for all Friday. Absolutely perfect. Would be a good time for folks to set their notifications on YouTube. What time Saturday? 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Unless Dana needs to do it earlier. But I think tomorrow night at 8, we'll go live. And bass shall bite tomorrow. And we will talk some fishing tomorrow night for sure. So, guys, listen, I've enjoyed this. It's going to make the rest of my day a lot better. This was absolutely one of the more fun ones for me because, we're old. We're getting there. I got AARP mail fixing to be starting to come my way. So it was good to go down memory lane on a lot of things. But you guys have a great rest of your day. Come back tomorrow night. We'll have some more fun, and we'll do it again. So let me get rid of my TikTok people first. TikTok must be a lot of young people because there wasn't a lot of people in there today. But all you old farts are on YouTube. So good luck. Hey, listen, if I don't see you or talk to you guys tomorrow and you go out fishing, be safe. Okay? Whether you're hunting, fishing, whatever it is you do, be safe out there because I want to see you on Monday. So you guys be good, and I'll talk to you later.